SWRM team, Kim Carlson and Haley Ressler. We're going to take a few minutes of your time to talk about the SWRM master contracts. If you have been around for a while, you may remember back in 2017, we started the master contract way of doing our program. We sent these contracts out to every county. They were signed by the counties and by DATCAP, and they have been in place since 2017. That's a bit of a long time. So we recently took on updating the contracts with our new legal. So the format has changed a bit. Content has not changed greatly, but we did want to go over a few things that have been highlighted in the contract.
My shoes, which I'll like.
The approval process that you're going to be dealing with, and moving forward, what we're going to, how we're going to handle everything. There we go, just went over that. So in 2017, again, all counties signed a master contract for just SWRM staffing and cost share awards. This did not cover NMFE grants. It did not cover innovation grants. It did not cover any other grants through DATCAP. It just covered your SWRM staffing and cost share awards. Again, we opened this contract for review with legal staff, a few changes. And I want to repeat something that we've been telling you. Although contracts are not going to be signed until after extensions are approved, counties are free to create cost share contracts with landowners for the funds starting January 1st. And I did put the little caveat in there, assuming the allocation plan has been approved, which would only be delayed if there was a delay in budget, which we're hoping that's not going to be the case. So a few things I want to highlight. These are not really changes per se in the contract. They're just things that are going to come up as you're looking through the contract. And I wanted to take a moment to just bring this out in a public call. First of all, we do outline in the contract how SEG awards can be used for cropping practices. We have no limit on that. We used to have a 50% limit. We've removed that limit, but we do still require a nutrient management checklist for reimbursement. For the SEG awards being used for structural practice, there is a limit. You may not use more than 50% of your SEG award, and this requires pre-approval. We also ask for a nutrient management checklist and a draft contract with including justification on why SEG fund is needed and the resource concern being addressed. Went through two things there. And then moving forward, we're going to, it is in the contract that you'll have 7 days to acknowledge an updated schedule of awards. On the new format of the contract, the first 2 pages are the whereases and the therefore statements. It outlines the department authority, the requirements for the county to have a department approved land and water resource management plan, the requirement for the county to have a soil and water conservation department or similar, to have a land conservation committee or similar, the requirement of annual work plans, the types of awards that are going to be given out through this contract, and it also refers to the addendum, which is where the extensions come into play. On page 2 of the contract is where we will be gathering signatures. Pages 4 through 12 are going to be general terms and conditions, which are mostly verbatim from what you have seen before from DATCAP. And then you're going to get to the program specific information in the attachments. Attachment 1 is going to be the county contact and the DATCAP contact. Attachment B is the program terms and conditions. And this is where things, the items I just mentioned on the previous slide, where they will be outlined. Attachment C is going to be your schedule of awards, and that is what will be updated for the next 5 years. Attachment D goes over how to do reimbursements, and E talks about reporting. Again, I'm going to reiterate, you do not need to wait until these contracts are signed to start signing cost share contracts. As soon as the allocation plan is awarded, you can rest assured those funds are coming your way. All projects must be completed by December 31st or extended for incomplete projects. Counties must pay the landowner by January 31st and request reimbursement no later than February 15th. The contracting process this year and moving forward, we're not going to use DocuSign. And the reason we've chosen not to do that is because we understand that all the counties are going to need to have these contracts reviewed. And it's just a lot easier to do that as a PDF than it is in the DocuSign world. So we will email the contracts in probably early May to the county, our county contact, for you to put that contract into whatever internal review process you need to obtain the county signature on it, and then email it back to Kim or Haley at the DACAP SWRM email. We will get the final DACAP signature on it and then email you a copy of the final contract with both signatures. I've said twice in here that you're going to have 7 days to acknowledge the schedule of awards. That's not going to apply to this year because we understand you have to have a contract reviewed and that's not going to happen in 7 days. But for the next 5 years, in late April, early May, we will email you an updated schedule of awards, and that you will have 7 days to respond to. And moving forward, we're going to have our master contract reviewed by our legal department every 5 years, and any updates required at that point in time. And then we will go through the full signature process again. So that is all we have to present on. If anyone has any questions or concerns, I'm more than happy to take them.
This is Patricia from Jefferson County. One of my questions is that 7 days to acknowledge receipt of the schedule of awards. I understand why you're doing that, but what happens if somebody, it probably is going to happen in the future, that somebody's on vacation and doesn't see it, and then they don't acknowledge it within your 7-day window? What happens at that point?
We will continue to be fairly lenient on that. That has been something that's in ACAP 50 that we have just been kind of glossing over. We pulled it back to the front because we have waited for 2 months sometimes, which is a little too long. So if you're not going to get it within 7 days, we will reach out again after that 7-day period and see where you are. The final result is we will not be able to process any reimbursements until we get recognition that you have received the updated schedule of awards. Any other questions or concerns?
This is Matt in La Crosse County. Just for thinking ahead for Corp Council when they take a look at it, are there going to be other causes? You talked about like the SEG funding percentage changes and some of the bonding stuff, those at the beginning of your presentation. Well, are there going to be other cosmetic changes, or are there just like those changes you highlighted? And I'm wondering if there's going to be throughout the document other like formatting changes, or is there just a few sections that can be highlighted that Corp Council need to look at from the master contract back in 17?
The good question, Matt. The whole format has changed. It's been updated to reflect the current DACAP contracting format. So it's significantly different in looks from the 2017 contract. We did a side-by-side comparison of content, and that has remained the same. We haven't changed any terms or conditions for how the contracts work or how the program works in this contract. It's been updated to reflect the current DACAP style, if you will, for the contracts.
This is Haley from Trempolo. So when you email these contracts out, will it go to the county contact or the person that's signing? Because ours will be different.
I believe our intent is to email them to the county con, and if we know who is signing it, to copy the person who is signing it. Kim and Haley, is that the intent?
Yeah,
Okay.
for the most part, we'll email to the county con. So if you're not the signatory, please let us know. So on this signature page, we have the correct name and title on that so you can get it to the correct person. And if it's wrong when you get it, just let us know. We can make the change and resend it.
Okay, thank you.
We'll definitely be copying all the county cons on it as they go out, because you're probably where the questions will be coming if there are any on the contract, so give you a heads up as well. Any other questions we can answer for anyone?
This is Amy in Dane County, just
Hi, Amy.
confirming, for the PDF, when we return the document, do you want the original signature or do you want a PDF of the document back?
A PDF of the document back is fine.
Okay.
Susan, can you go back and just show your first slide again?
I should be able to do that. Which one were you looking for?
Yeah, that one. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Didn't mean to think that, but I did. Internet got disconnected, missed most. We will be sharing a recording of this, yes. Are we gonna email it out or we're gonna post it? Which way do you want to go with that, ladies?
Probably both.
Okay.
One more question, Haley from
Mhm.
Trempealeau. Is there a time, I know going forward it's the 7 days, but for this round, what is like the time, I guess you would like it returned by, or like time limit?
I'm gonna say as quickly as possible. I know the process varies greatly from county to county. If it feels like it's gonna be, yeah, you have to wait for a board meeting, you need to wait for whatever. If you could just email us back and say, we have a board meeting in early June, we'll get back to you after that, just so we know when to be looking for it. That would be very helpful. But we're not putting a due date on it just because I know the process differs so greatly from county to county, and I don't want to throw an arbitrary date that's not gonna work with your county schedules.
Okay.
Yes, we were just asked if we can sign or share a copy of the 2017 contract. And we definitely can send you a copy of your county contract from 2017 if you would like. Just drop us an email and we can return that to you. Any other questions? Very good. Well, thank you all for tuning in today for our Office 15 minutes. If you have any questions, DACCAP SWRM at wisconsin.gov is a great place to send them. And we look forward to working with you in the coming year. Thanks a lot.